Well, thank you very much for giving me the time to ask you a few questions. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I know
No
it's
worries.
sounding. I'm so sorry.
Oh, don't worry.
Um, well, first, can you talk a little bit about how you started being involved in music?
I guess we both have different journeys, musical journeys. I My way into music and becoming a musician was through songs, I guess, mostly, and becoming obsessed with songs and lyrics. And I spent a lot of my school years just writing those lyrics on my wall and asking everybody what their favorite lyrics was and things like that. And then singing was came as well. So I did a few singing lessons and started playing my own shows, and then I was kind of doing more singer songwriter stuff, which I loved, but I really wanted to team up with someone, and she's had a kind of a different, um, I guess, musical upbringing.
Yeah, we lost you there for a second, Morgan, but I think we
Oh.
got everything. That's okay. Yeah, I started playing. I was very fortunate to get piano lessons and harp lessons as a young kid. So I've been playing since I was maybe 5 or 6 years old, on the harp and piano. And then, yeah, I had like a classical training and also a traditional Irish training. And then went on to study music in college. And I studied composition there. So my my in was always more on the instrumental side. I never really wrote songs. I did sing, but I never really thought I would be, you know, in the songwriting kind of world until we teamed up and started kind of putting our two halves together, I guess. And that kind of stands now in the way that we make music, in that Morgan is the songwriter and I'll be arranging and producing, and then we both come together and sing somewhere in the middle.
How did you came together? How did you team up?
So we sang together in an orchestra. We were singing with our in a choir that sang with the college orchestra, and I really loved Gem's voice, and I remember hearing it and thinking that it was really beautiful. And yeah, and then I was told that she played the harp and that she put it through a lot of pedals and was experimenting with how it sounded, and I just thought that sounded so interesting. So I asked her for coffee one day, and thank God she said yes. And we met up and really quickly realized that we both really wanted to make music, and that we were up for making it together and trying it out. And then we spent a lot of time together early on, and it just kept on working. We didn't really, I guess, we didn't question it so much. We just jumped straight in, and pretty soon we'd written some songs.
Your music is influenced a lot in the traditional Irish music, right? What adding also your style, what motivates you to be involved in this kind of genre?
I think it's, for me anyway, it's just something I grew up with. I started playing the harp from a young age, and that's that's a traditional instrument. So the lessons and the education that I was getting was, a lot of it was primarily in traditional music. And then from then I went on to, it's kind of in your blood, if that's what if that's what you play from such a young age. And I started to get really into it then in my teens as well. I played in a few folk and traditional bands. So it's always been there. I think with the harp as well, it's a huge kind of facet in Irish traditional music. So even if I don't consider a lot of our music to be traditional necessarily, but it's always going to have that influence, on some level.
Is that what you also consume in terms of music, or what other genres are you also inspired by?
I think we listen to loads and loads. Yeah, everything, anything that's good. I'm up for listening to. I think I used to be a little bit more close-minded with my taste, in that I listen to a lot of folk music and kind of didn't really go out of my way to listen to other stuff. But it's just become the Irish music scene has become amazingly diverse, and it's expanded so much over the last little while. So um yeah, some of my favorite artists aren't necessarily folk artists, or aren't anything like the kind of music that we play. Yeah, whatever. And you can find, I love whenever you can feel that there's an influence from quite a different type of music funneling its way through into something a bit more traditional. So I think it's good to keep your mind open to all different types.
Can you give us a few artists that inspire you, or maybe you wish to collab with?
Oh, there's so many. I guess in terms of the Irish music scene, there's like a load of incredible artists at the moment. There's Circa Richardson, there's Nilo, Denise Chaila, the list goes on and on. I guess, yeah, and I wouldn't even know where to start.
Even in more of there's a real strong folk traditional scene in Ireland currently at the moment as well. Bands like Lankum, or the Mary Wallopers, or Junior Brother. There's just, yeah, there's so much. It's really great to see, and there's such a great community here as well.
Another question is, how did you came up with the name Same Sisters? Because one will think that you're sisters, but you're like friends. So, but how did you came up with that name?
It was in two parts really, because we started off under a different name only for like a month or so, a couple of months maybe. We were O Sister, and my mom came up with that. She said it because it's so hard to come up with a band name. I don't envy any band starting out. It's the hardest things, because every name has been taken, even if sometimes there's just a page with nothing on it, but it has that name on it on Facebook or something, so you know that somebody's trying to use it. And so we were really scratching our heads for ages trying to find something. My mom said, "Oh, sister," and I think that she thought of it after a Bob Dylan song. But when we started working under that name, we realized there was another artist who also used a kind of a variation in terms of the spelling, but that name. So we wanted to change it and kind of start fresh. And Gemma came up with the Saint to put in front of it. And it's funny, at the time, I thought it was the worst thing that could happen, that we'd have to change our name, but you forget about it so quickly. And I think names of bands, you stop thinking about the name and just think of the band themselves when you hear it. So it doesn't really, I think there's so much pressure on it, and it shouldn't be bad, but you almost don't really, I feel like for my favorite bands, you don't even see the words anymore. You just see the band when you say the name. So yeah, the longer you have it, the easier it is.
Do you have a writing process? Do you start with the lyrics and then go with the rhythm, or vice versa, or how does it come up your music?
Generally, that's the way it goes. A lot of the time, it will come from Morgan first with lyrics and a melody, or sometimes a full song, or sometimes just a chorus, but that there's a lyrical idea anyway that sparks it. And then sometimes, less often, it might come that I have an instrumental idea and then we put some lyrics on it. But that's happening more and more, I guess, and we're trying to kind of change it up. But we don't really have, we write a lot separately as well, which has been handy for this year, because we haven't been able to be together as much as we normally would. So a lot of the time it's Morgan will be just sending me little voice notes or lavs over text or over email, and then I'll kind of sit with them for a while, and we kind of go back and forth like that with ideas.
With all the situation of pandemic, do you think you were more inspired in writing, or being more active, or did you feel like it slowed your process?
I think, well, it's been so long now, nearly a year, so it's been kind of up and down. I think for a while I found it really, really hard, and I felt that although we had so much time and everyone was doing creative things and using their time to create, I found it really hard because there was just nothing to write about. And I guess in one sense, so much was going on, but in another sense, I feel like I couldn't tackle the pandemic, was too big a subject to tackle in a song. So I was missing all those really small moments of chatting to your friend in the smoking area, or yeah, having a walk home after a night out and someone saying something. Those are all the moments that I love so much and that normally inspire our songs. So I really miss them, and I think I'm only starting to kind of get over that. And we have written a few things, but I think I'm just so starved of people's company, and I can't wait to hang out with people again more. And anytime I have been able to see people, I've been kind of on alert for like for nice sayings and stuff, because I just haven't to experience that in a while.
Do you have anything new that you learned during this past year?
Oh, that's like everything's changed, not necessarily in a bad way, you know. I think everything's just been reevaluated in some way or form, whether that's your relationships or your work or your relationship with work. And yeah, I don't know, it's been a big moment of pause, I think, for a lot of things.
I think I've just learned to be a bit more appreciative of the time that I have, and I can't, because I would have been someone who sometimes would go home early on a night out, or maybe be a bit too tired to do something and not go to something. But I don't know how long it'll last, but I can't wait for the world to start up again and to not say no to any social gathering.
No more nights in.
No, yeah, I don't want to.
Hopefully. Well, we have little time. Can you tell us about the new album that is going to be out, I believe in June, right? Where was it recorded? How many songs are there? And what was your main inspiration? Sorry.
So we recorded this album here in Ireland, in County Wicklow, about half an hour outside of Dublin. We recorded it in the winter of 2019 and 2020. So it was finished just before the pandemic kicked off. And it's been, it's been finished for a long time now, which is quite nice. It sort of feels like it lives in the world before all of this. There are 10 tracks on the album. And Karaoke Song, our new single, is obviously off it. But yeah, it's some of the songs lean a little bit more pop, the way the Karaoke Song does, and then there's a lot of folkier kind of tracks on there as well. Some of the songs are a bit more introspective. We produced this one ourselves, and we brought on a lot of other musicians and other players to perform on it with us. We have a string quartet on there, and we have some live band on there, and we have a collaboration with Lisa Hannigan, who's one of our favorite Irish artists. And yeah, have you anything to add?
No, you.
That's the quick tour of the album.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much.
So much.
I think I only have like one last question. Like, do you have any dream performance, like a music festival or venue that you have always wanted to play as an artist?
Oh, a specific venue.
I think any venue at the minute would be good enough. It's been so long.
Even a bar or something, a restaurant, right? Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time, and
Thank you so much, Fab.
Thank you so much. Lovely to meet you.
Same.